a powerful exposé of the shadowy world behind addiction treatment in America, and the lives caught in its grip. They were promised hope, a second chance, a path out of addiction, poverty, jail, and trauma. But what they got instead was something much darker. In Rehab, investigative journalist Shoshana Walter pulls back the curtain on a hidden empire of for-profit rehabilitation programs in America, a multi-billion-dollar system where recovery is often a disguise for exploitation. This is not just a story about addiction. It's a story about power, control, labor, and the commodification of human suffering. Walter's book begins with a question that echoes across countless towns and courtrooms. What happens to people who are addicted, poor, and have nowhere to go? For many, the answer is court-ordered rehab, often through faith-based programs or private treatment centers. These institutions promise salvation, healing, and a return to society. But as Rehab shows, behind their glossy brochures and redemption narratives lies a system riddled with abuse, corruption, and labor exploitation. We are introduced to real individuals, men and women who enter these programs believing they're taking the first step toward recovery. But instead, they are sent to work camps, chicken processing plants, factories, and warehouses, forced to labor for no pay under the banner of treatment. Some of these rehabs have no licensed medical staff, no therapists, no addiction specialists, just hard work, strict obedience, and constant surveillance. They are told this is good for them. That pain builds character. That submission is part of healing. They are told over and over that they are lucky to be here. But what Rehab reveals is not just the system's failures, it is its design. These are not accidental oversights. The use of unpaid labor is intentional. The absence of medical care is strategic. Many of these programs are protected by political influence, religious exemptions, and the deep stigma surrounding addiction. Walter's reporting is unflinching. She traces the web of connections between churches, private corporations, state drug courts, and non-profit organizations, all profiting off the bodies and labor of people desperate for help. She explores how America's war on drugs has morphed into something more insidious, a rehab industrial complex where recovery becomes a product and the addicted become currency. And yet the book is not without hope. We meet individuals who fight back, who sue, who organize, who speak out. We see cracks in the system, moments of truth, resistance, and reclamation. There's Whitney, a young woman sentenced to one of these programs after being caught with meth. Instead of counseling, she finds herself lifting heavy boxes in a warehouse under threat of being sent to jail if she refuses. There's Jason, a veteran with PTSD, forced to work in a poultry plant while his mental health deteriorates. There's Angela, who escaped one abusive program only to land in another, each promising salvation, each delivering trauma. Through their voices, Rehab becomes not just an exposé, but a deeply human story. It asks uncomfortable questions. Why are we okay with treating addiction as a crime? Why do we punish people for being sick? And why have we allowed recovery to become a business? Shoshana Walter's writing is meticulous, compassionate, and razor-sharp. She combines in-depth investigative journalism with intimate storytelling. Every statistic is backed by a name, every system failure, a personal tragedy. She also explores the history of how we got here, tracing the rise of faith-based recovery, the political movement to privatize treatment, and the cultural myths around redemption and suffering. We learn how narratives like "God will heal you through work" replaced science and therapy in thousands of communities, how shame was weaponized, and how desperation became an economy. But perhaps the most haunting theme of Rehab is this. For many Americans, the choice isn't between good treatment and bad treatment. The choice is between this or prison. And when that's the only choice you have, are you truly free? In the final chapters, Walter offers glimpses of reform, of new models of care, of harm reduction, compassion, and dignity. But she makes one thing clear: real change will require dismantling the very foundation of how we see addiction, not as a moral failing, but as a public health issue, not as a reason to punish, but as a call to care. Rehab is a devastating, necessary, and urgent book. It challenges us to look beyond the surface of recovery, beyond the slogans and prayers, and to confront the harsh reality beneath. Because the truth is, some rehabs don't heal, some rehabs break, and some profit. For viewers of Book Frame, this is not just a story. It's a warning. A reminder that systems designed to save us can also be the ones that consume us, and that the path to healing must begin with truth.